This boy noticed something nobody else on the block paid attention to. Every single day, an old man sat outside his store like he owned the whole street. But this old man never had cash in his pocket. So how did everybody on that block owe him something? This kid had to know the answer. So he walked straight up and asked for a job. But the old man just laughed in his face. So Marcus turned to walk away. But the old man called him back with one sentence that changed everything. Come back tomorrow before the sun's even up. So the next morning, Marcus showed up before the sun did. The old man was already there, like he never left. He handed Marcus a broom and said 5 words. Clean it like you own it. But Marcus didn't get it, he was just sweeping a floor. So weeks passed and he kept sweeping anyway. But the old man never paid him a single dollar. So Marcus finally asked him why. I wasn't testing your work, son. I was testing your patience. So that same week, he finally got paid, but not how he expected. Inside was something nobody on the block had ever seen. Every name in that book owed him something, but not money. I don't lend money, Marcus, I lend trust. So he pointed at the barber shop across the street. I gave that man $400 when nobody else would. Now I get free haircuts for life. But Marcus's eyes lit up. The old man wasn't finished. And the laundromat? I fixed their machine myself. So Marcus finally said it out loud. You don't need money, you built your own economy. So the old man smiled for the first time that whole month. But the next thing he did, Marcus never saw coming. Inside was $60, but it wasn't a gift. Take this, in 30 days, show me what you built with it. So Marcus walked home, turning the same question over and over. What would the old man do with $60? So the next morning, an idea hit him, a risky one. He spent $30 on water and snacks from the wholesaler. Then he walked 3 blocks to the one spot with 0 shade. By noon, his cooler was empty, his pocket was full. But he didn't spend a single dollar of that profit. So he remembered something else the old man said. Money that just sits is money that's dying. So Marcus did something nobody his age would think to do. He offered his last $30 to fix the shop's broken sign. But the barber just laughed. Said a kid couldn't fix a sign like that. So Marcus wasn't paying to fix it himself. He was paying the electrician walking up the street to do it. So 3 days later, that sign lit up the whole block again. And just like the old man, Marcus had his own deal now. Free haircuts, for life. 30 days, $60, and he'd built 2 things money can't usually buy. So when the 30 days were up, he walked back to the old man's chair. He laid both stories on the table, the water, the sign, the haircuts. But the old man didn't say a word, he just listened. So when Marcus finished, the old man finally stood up. You didn't spend $60, son. You spent $60 of belief. And belief, when it's placed right, never runs out. So that night, the old man handed him a key. Not to a car, to the store. It wasn't about owning it yet, it was about responsibility. So the old man said something Marcus would repeat for the rest of his life. The block doesn't make you rich, how you treat the block does. But it would take years before Marcus understood just how true that was. So 10 years passed, Marcus was 21 now. The old man's hair had gone fully gray, but his folding chair never moved. But the block around them had completely transformed. Because Marcus never stopped doing what he learned at 11. So by 21, he had his own ledger now. 12 names inside, 12 favors, 12 futures tied to his. But one morning, something showed up that had never been there before. A man in a sharp suit stepped out, holding a folder thick with paper. His name was Mr. Lance, so he wasn't there to shop. He walked straight up to the old man and made an offer nobody expected. $200,000 for the store, cash, today. Marcus's stomach dropped. That was more money than he'd ever seen. But the old man didn't even look at the check. So he asked one simple question instead. What happens to the barber shop, the laundromat, everybody who owes me nothing but trust? But Mr. Lance just smiled, said that wasn't his problem to solve. So he said the whole block was getting bought up anyway. But the old man slowly slid the contract back across the counter. Some things on this block were never for sale. So Mr. Lance left that day, but he didn't give up. Within a week, the laundromat's lease tripled overnight. The barbershop's landlord suddenly stopped renewing leases altogether. So Marcus realized what was happening. Mr. Lance was squeezing the whole block from every direction at once. So Marcus went straight to the old man, but this time he looked tired. I'm 73 years old, Marcus. I don't have the energy to fight this the old way. So Marcus felt something shift inside him. It wasn't fear, it was readiness. You taught me the block doesn't make you rich, how you treat it does. Let me handle this one the way you'd handle it. So that night, Marcus pulled out his own ledger. 12 names, 12 favors owed. He realized something Mr. Lance never understood about this block. Money can buy a building, but it can't buy 12 people who already owe you everything. So the next morning, Marcus visited every single name on that list. The barber, the laundromat owner, the wholesaler, even the woman with the baby, now grown. Each one said the same thing before Marcus even finished asking. Whatever you need, after everything your family's done for this block, just say it. So by that afternoon, Marcus had pooled together something Mr. Lance never saw coming. Not a check, a community fund, built entirely on favors collected over a decade. $210,000, just $11,000 more than Mr. Lance's entire offer. So 3 days later, the black SUV returned. Mr. Lance expected a surrender. Instead, he found Marcus standing in the old man's chair, literally and figuratively. So Marcus slid his own folder across the counter. $210,000 were buying the lease back, all of it. So Mr. Lance laughed nervously, asked where a block like this got that kind of money. Marcus stood up slowly and gave him the only answer that mattered. You sell buildings, Mr. Lance. We built something you can't put a price on. So Mr. Lance looked at the crowd, then at the check, then back at Marcus. For the first time since he arrived on that block, he had absolutely nothing to say. He signed the papers, got in his SUV, and never came back to that block again. So that night, the old man finally let Marcus push his folding chair away. He didn't need it the same way anymore. Marcus was the one people came to now. So the old man pulled out one final thing from behind the counter, a brand new ledger. This one's empty. What you fill it with is entirely up to you now. So Marcus understood then what the old man had been building this whole time. It was never about the store. It was never even about the money. It was about understanding that wealth isn't what sits in your pocket. It's what you've planted in the people standing next to you. So the old man never had $200,000 sitting in a bank account, but he had something Mr. Lance's whole company couldn't buy with every dollar they had. And that's the part of this story most people miss completely. We're taught that wealth means having more than everyone else. But the realest wealth Marcus ever built didn't separate him from his block. It connected him to it permanently. So here's the question the old man really left behind. Who around you right now owes you nothing but trust? And what would happen if you started investing in them today?